Hello and welcome back to our Lord of the Rings LCG solo progression series, and today's quest is the nightmare version of the Hills of Emyn Muil, which was the fourth adventure pack in the Shadows of Mirkwood cycle. A quick reminder, in this series we're playing through each quest in chronological order of the game's initial release, and we'll only be using player cards that were available at the time of this quest release. I'm calling this deck Doom Mitigators, and it's just descriptive of what this deck actually does. There's a lot of Doom, a Doom keyword in this scenario. And so, especially since we can't win until we've collected 20 victory points, we're just going to see a lot of threat raise. So we're mitigating against that. But we are perhaps foolishly doubling down on Doomed. We're putting a lot of Doomed in our deck. And so we'll raise our threat with abandon, and then we'll lower our threat with Galadrim's Greetings, hopefully multiple times throughout the game, and we'll mitigate against the Doom. So Grima is new to the channel. He came out in the voice of Isengard. He is a lore hero. Rohan and Isengard traded. 9 threat, 2 willpower, 1 attack, 2 defense, 3 health. And he has this action, lower the cost of the next card you play from your hand this round by 1. So each card, or the next card, becomes cheaper, limit once per round. But that card does gain Doomed once, so you trade out, instead of a resource, you use the resource of a threat raise. So he's really powerful in solo. And you might be wondering, last scenario we used Saruman, the neutral ally, and so potentially somebody's watching this, probably not, but somebody might be wondering, why are Grima and Saruman allies? But this is taking place before the events in the Lord of the Rings, and so technically at this point, Saruman, Grima, these would be considered allies, but we know that they're going to turn out to be bad. And so I think the developers did a great job with the theme by putting Doomed into this cycle and into these cards, because they are doomed souls. So really cool. Gandalf is not doomed, but we will have to raise our threat by 2 to keep him in play at the end of any refresh phase. So a lot of threat raise just already between Grima and Gandalf. Keys of Orthanc is essential to this deck. And then Deep Knowledge is another Doomed card, which we'll see a lot in this solo progression series. 0 cost, Doom 2, each player draws 2 cards. Well, let's get to the quest and see how we do. This one can take a little while because of the reality that we have to wait until we have 20 victory points. All right, opening hand isn't bad. I mean, I like that I have a good meal, and I like that I have Galadrim's Greeting, but let's just mulligan for a copy of Keys of Numenor. Mulligan, and we did not get it. Kind of a bummer there, but oh well. Here is the setup for the Nightmare version of this, and it tells us to remove the following cards from the standard deck in the following quantities and shuffle in the Nightmare cards. And the Nightmare card here, the Nightmare mode setup card, tells us that no more than 1 progress may be placed on each location in the staging area each round. So a single copy of Northern Tracker can do this, but 2 copies of Questing Northern Trackers can't do this because we're limited to 1 progress on each location in staging once per round. So I only have 1 copy of Northern Tracker in the deck as a result. So 1A for the Hills of Emyn Muil says the hunt for Gollum has led you to the south, and you are now approaching Rowrose Falls and the nearby hills of Emyn Muil. For setup, we search the encounter deck for Amon Hen and Amon Law and add them to the staging area, then shuffle the encounter deck. Amon Hen is X threat, which X is twice the number of players in the game. Same thing with Amon Law. And they both have really nasty passive effects when they're the active location. Amon Law, when this is the active location, blanks out all of our attachments. And Amon Hen, when it's the active location, we cannot play events. So side B, you are certain that Gollum has fled into this area, and you must explore until you find the fresh trail. Forest, if there are no location cards in the staging area, the first treachery card revealed during the quest phase gains Surge. Won't really affect us because usually I'll leave these in staging. But every now and then I've had it fire once or twice. Players cannot defeat this stage until there are no Emyn Muil locations in play, and they have collected at least 20 victory points. We're halfway there with these two, but sometimes it is a struggle to get the 20, especially with some treacheries that remove random locations from the victory display. Now, when we make one progress, there are no Emyn Muil locations in play, and we've collected 20 victory points. We have defeated the stage, and that's it. That's the quest. They didn't fix this with the Nightmare deck. They did with Conflict of the Carrot by adding another stage, but I kind of wish they had just replaced this card with something that was a little different and that said you've won the game, because it doesn't actually ever say that anywhere. Okay, resource phase. And right away, we'll just go ahead and play a good meal. This is a neutral attachment, 0 cost, attached to a Hobbit hero. We'll put it on Frodo. We'll exhaust Bear of War to draw 2 cards. And we'll spend a resource from Bear of War's pool to play Mithrander's Device. Draw 1 card for each hero you control with a lore resource icon. So no Keys of Orthanc this round. Unless I want to play Daron's Runes. Let's push our luck a little bit. We'll play Daron's Runes and draw 2 cards. And we will discard maybe Song of Travel. I could live without that. I don't. Yeah, let's just discard Song of Travel. It's not necessary, and I can get it whenever we recycle the deck. No, I don't need to do that. I need Spirit. Let's discard a... It's a little bit painful. We'll discard a Self-Preservation. And we'll attach a Hobbit hero to Frodo. And this can be attached to a Hobbit character. And so now we're going to take this action on Good Meal. Discard Good Meal to lower the cost of the next event you play this round that matches the attached hero sphere by 2. So that's the action, to discard it and to declare that the next event that is in Spirit, in this case, is reduced by 2. And so for 1 cost, I can play a Galadrim's Greeting and then lower my threat by 6. We're down to 20. And in response, after your threat is reduced by an event card, exhaust Hobbit Pipe to draw a card. And despite our best efforts, we just did not get a Keys of Orthanc this round. Questing with Grima and with Frodo. Actually, no, we won't. We need to use Grima's action. Action, lower the cost of the next card you play from your hand this round. So we're back in planning. And then that card gains Doomed 1. So this action is not actually playing the card. The action is just kind of reading the sentence, I guess, or declaring this has been done. So I can take this action at any point. Right now we're in planning. It says lower the cost of the next card played from hand this round by 1. So I could wait until the refresh phase to play a card. And when I do, it's cheaper by 1, but it has Doomed 1. And so sometimes you can take this action and then nothing happens because I never play a card from hand. So it's just kind of unique. And I use a time counter every time I take the action just to remind myself that I have. And then at the end of each refresh phase, like you always do with time counters, I remove it, just telling me that next round I can take Grima's action. So we're going to reduce the next card by 1. It's going to cost us 1 to put out a Warden of Healing, and he will have Doomed 1. And now we'll quest with Grima and with Frodo. When we reveal Slick Footing, when revealed, remove 1 progress token from each location in play. Then discard the top card of each player's deck for each progress token removed by this effect. So kind of a rare whiff there. We made no progress, but our threat didn't go up. So pretty happy about that. That's rare with this deck. Refresh, and we're not going to travel anywhere, so that's why we just went ahead and refresh. Remove this time counter next round. Bear of War draws us 2 cards. And we'll play Deep Knowledge Doom 2. Each player draws 2 cards. There's the Keys of Orthanc. There we go. We'll spend a resource from Bear of War's pool to attach Keys of Orthanc to Frodo. And this is a neutral attachment. Attach it to a hero. Response: after you raise your threat from the doomed keyword, exhaust Keys of Orthanc to add 1 resource to attached hero's resource pool. So what I'm going to do is use Grima's action. Lower the cost of the next card you play from hand this round by 1. That's going to cost us nothing to play Mithrander's Device except Doomed 1. So in response to that Doomed keyword, response: after you raise your threat from the Doomed keyword, exhaust Keys of Orthanc to add 1 resource to attach hero's resource pool. And back to Mithrander's Device, we draw 2 cards. And I can't quite play Galadrim's Greeting this round. That's fine. We'll just hang on to these resources. We would want to play a Test of Will anyway if it came out. We've used Grima's action, which we want to each round for sure. We'll hang on to resources otherwise. Let's quest with Frodo and with Grima. And we reveal Orc Horse Thieves, Doom 2. And it says Orc Horse Thieves gets +1 attack for each location in the staging area. So it will have +2 attack. We were unsuccessful in the quest. Our threat goes up by 3. We can optionally, we're not going to travel anywhere again. We can optionally engage Orc Horse Thieves. Its engagement is higher than our threat. But I don't want to because I don't have Forest Snare in hand yet. So we'll refresh, removing this time counter and moving on to round 3. A lot has happened in just 3 rounds. We'll exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. Here is a Good Meal. We'll attach it to Frodo. And we'll take this action, Good Meal, discard Good Meal to lower the cost of the next event you play this round that matches the attached hero sphere by 2. So 1 cost, we can play Galadrim's Greeting and lower our threat by 6. And exhaust Hobbit Pipe to draw a card. We've got all 3 Amphalos Herdsmen. We just need Ithir Swordsman. We will use Grima's action to lower a card by 1. And that card is going to be a 1-costed Warden of Healing. Doomed 1. And in response to the Doom keyword, we exhaust Keys of Orthanc to get a resource back on Frodo. We'll quest with Frodo and with Grima. And reveal another Orc Horse Thieves, Doom 2. And it gets +2 attack. Our threat goes up by 6. Wow, we're just able to keep from engaging them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're at 34 threat. During the travel phase, I'm not traveling anywhere. And during the encounter phase, I can optionally engage 1 Orc Horse Thief. But I don't want to. I don't have a Forest Snare, although I'm assuming I'll get a Forest Snare next round. And I need to get this threat out of staging to keep my threat from going up. So let's optionally engage 1 Orc Horse Thief. All right, so it's going to attack us and we can't defend. We'll have to take it undefended. And it says Shadow, shuffle all hazard cards in the encounter discard pile back into the encounter deck. Then deal another Shadow card for this attack. Let's see what we have. It says hazards are shuffled back in. And this is a hazard. Yeah, this is discarded and another Shadow is dealt and resolved. Shadow, remove all progress from each Emyn Muil location in play. No locations or no progress in play. All right, so this is 3 undefended. I could put it on Frodo and use his response, but we'll just put it on Bearvor because she can take it. 3, she has 4 health. And then we'll exhaust these 2 Masters of the Forge or Warden of Healing actually, to heal 2 points of damage on Bearvor. We'll discard the Shadow, refresh, removing this time counter, and moving on to the next round. And here is another good meal. That's really helpful. We'll exhaust Bearboard to draw 2 cards. And a Galadrim's Greeting is helpful. Let's discard Good Meal to lower the cost of this Galadrim's Greeting down to 1. We're reducing our threat by 6. And exhausting Hobbit Pipe to draw a card. Then we'll play Deep Knowledge, Doomed 2, to draw 2 cards. In response to the Doom keyword, we exhaust Keys of Orthanc and get a resource for Frodo. And we got Forest Snare and Gandalf, so that's good. Can I get out both? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can. That's pretty good. So let's go ahead and use Grima's action and reduce the next card by 1. So it's going to cost us just 2 to put out Forest Snare. We'll attach it to Orc Horse Thief, doomed 1. And we've already exhausted Keys of Orthanc. And now I just want to put out Gandalf for full cost. We'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll put 5. So Frodo should have 1 resource left, which is perfect. We could still play a Test of Will if needed. Okay, we'll quest with Gandalf. He does not exhaust to commit to the quest. And with Grima and with Frodo. And we reveal Ralros Falls. While Ralros Falls is the active location, all characters must commit to the current quest during the quest phase. All right, our threat goes up by 1. We were unsuccessful in the quest. During the travel phase, we'll travel here to Ralros Falls, just getting rid of threat in staging. And we'll also get rid of this threat. Let's optionally engage Orc Horse Thieves, I think. Yeah, let's do it. And so shadows are dealt, and this one's going to attack for 3. We'll defend with Gandalf, so 3 against 4. And it says shadow, shuffle all hazard cards in the encounter discard pile back into the encounter deck, then deal another shadow card. We saw that one. So hazards are shuffled back in, and I think it's just one. This guy, the Blast of Savage Wind. Discard this and deal another shadow. No shadow effect. Gandalf blocks the attack. And we'll heal with Warden of Healing this 1 point of damage. Discarding shadows and refreshing. At the end of the refresh phase, I remove this time counter, and then Gandalf has a force effect. Force at the end of the refresh phase, discard Gandalf from play. You may raise your threat by 2 to cancel this. Let's do that. Let's raise our threat and keep Gandalf in play next round. We'll exhaust Bearboard to draw 2 cards. We will play Daron's Runes to draw 2 cards and discard a Keys of Orthanc. We'll use Grima's action to lower the cost of this Forest Snare down to 2. We'll attach it to Orc Horse Thieves. That's going to have a doomed keyword on it. We exhaust Keys of Orthanc to get a resource on Frodo in response. And let me think here. We have 3 resources on Frodo. I don't really want to play Ithir Swordsman. Maybe I do. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go ahead and play for 2 costs an Ithir Swordsman. Each Outland's character you control gets +1 willpower. Because I have the ability to play Test of Will, so if I get Necromancer's Reach or a Rock Slide, I can just cancel it. But I just would like to clear Ralros Falls. Let's quest with everybody, including Warden of Healing. And that should be enough. We'll hopefully be able to clear Ralros Falls. Remember, Gandalf doesn't exhaust to commit to the quests, and so this isn't as disabilitating with him in play. We reveal another Ralros Falls. We made 6 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. This goes to the victory display. So there we go. We're on our way. 3 of the 20 right here. And once again, we'll travel to Ralros Falls. Shadows are dealt. They can't attack. I'll attack with Gandalf and do 2 points of damage to this Orc Horse Thieves. We'll discard these shadows. I just like to look at what they are. Refresh. removing this time counter, raising our threat by 2 to keep Gandalf in play next round. We'll exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. And let me see, I think I've got all 3 of my Galadrim's Greetings in discard. I do. I've already played them all. And I've already played all 3 good meals. So I'll be using my Dwarven Tomb to recur Galadrim's Greetings. So I need to try to save up my spirit resources. As such, let's use Grima's action. And we'll lower the cost of this Song of Travel to nothing, 0. And it's going to have Dune 1. We'll exhaust Keys of Orthanc to put a resource on Frodo. So Grima can start helping Frodo out. And even, if I don't play a Test of Will this round, I can actually play a Galadrim's Greeting if I just don't. At this point, it's not really necessary for me to play Mithrander's Device. I'm going to go ahead and put out a Amphalos Herdsman. And he is boosted by the Ithir Swordsman, and he's going to boost all Outland's characters by +1 health. And everybody has to quest because of Ralros Falls. And we'll reveal Eastern Crows. It's going to surge into Rock Slide. When revealed, deal 2 damage to each character committed to the quest. I don't want that to happen, so we will play a Test of Will. And we'll cancel that. We made 8 progress. So 4 on the current quest. This goes to the victory display. I don't want to travel anywhere. I still need to play events, and my attachments are really important, so we will engage Eastern Crows. Shadow cards are dealt. We'll take this undefended. And that's going to be 1 point of damage. We'll put it on Bearvor. And now Gandalf can attack and destroy Eastern Crows. That'll be shuffled, forced after Eastern Crows is defeated, shuffle it back into the encounter deck. Shadows are discarded. And we will be unable to play a Galadrim's Greeting this round. Refresh, remove time counter. And this is a point in the game where I could think about, it probably is not a bad idea to discard Gandalf right now and sort of get a grip on things. We're in a good position. We always have Frodo's response if somebody engages us and attacks us. Because if we hang on to Frodo right now, or to Gandalf, at the end of this refresh phase, we can either discard him or raise our threat by 2. We'll be at 44. Let's go ahead and discard Gandalf, I think. I don't know. Let's keep him a little bit longer, so we'll attack. No, wait, we didn't. We already attacked. We're in the refresh phase. We'll be at 44, and then the next round we go to 47, plus Scream is be 48. We have to discard him. Okay, so next round without Gandalf. Okay, we'll exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. So there's another Gandalf. There's 2 in the deck, so not too big a deal. We'll play Daron's Runes to draw 2 cards, and we'll discard this Keys of Orthanc. And we want to get out some health here to help out against possible rock slides and such. So we're going to use Grima's action to lower the cost of a Amphalos Herdsman to nothing, to 0. And of course, that boosts all Outland's characters by an additional hit point. Dune 1. and we exhaust Keys of Orthanc. And then I'll spend a resource from Berevor's pool to put out the third Amphalos Herdsman. And we'll quest with our Outlands characters and with Grima. We'll leave Frodo ready. We reveal Retraced Steps, which is going to surge. When revealed, discard a random Emyn Muil location from the victory display. I'd lose 3 victory points. Right now we have 10, assuming these go to the victory display. We're at 16. I could cancel this with Test of Will, which I probably should. Let's do that. Let's cancel it with Test of Will. And then, driven by Shadow, when revealed, each enemy and each location currently in the staging area gets +1 threat until the end of the phase. Sorry, +1, so that's +2 total. And so that's going to be 1 point of progress. That's just till the end of the phase, so pretty easy card to overcome there. Shadows are dealt. We'll exhaust Warden of Healing to heal Berevor. And neither one of these enemies can attack us, but let's go ahead and play with Frodo's resource, a Dwarven Tomb, to grab out of our discard pile a Galadrim's Greeting. And then 1, 2, 3, we play a full cost of Galadrim's Greeting to lower our threat by 6. And in response, we exhaust Hobbit Pipe to draw a card. Refresh, removing the time counter. So we've got our threat under control by not having Gandalf for just a little bit. We'll exhaust Berevor to draw 2 cards. We've almost drawn our whole hand. All right, here is Northern Tracker. That's good. We can start chipping away at these locations. These shadows were discarded at the end of combat. I don't really need card draw, so I'm not going to play Deep Knowledge, even though it's fun to play Deep Knowledge. It's not necessary at this point. We could play Aether Swordsman, but I think the most important thing to do is play Northern Tracker here. Let's use Grima's action to lower Northern Tracker, the cost of Northern Tracker to 3. 1, 2, 3. We put in Northern Tracker, doomed 1. It costs us 3 instead of 4. And in response, we exhaust Keys of Orthanc. And we can play a Test of Will if needed. And we'll save this resource on Berevor. Let's quest with Northern Tracker and with our Outlands characters and with Grima. And whenever Northern Tracker exhausts to commit to the quest, place 1 progress token on each location in the staging area. All right, Tunneling Nameless Thing. Finally, we see one of these guys are cool. Okay, no progress made. During the travel phase, I'm not going to travel here as usual, and I definitely don't want to because Tunneling Nameless Thing has a force effect. After the players travel to a location, Tunneling Nameless Thing engages the first player. So if I travel anywhere, this is how he engages us. He's at 50 engagement, so we'll never make engagement checks. But if we travel anywhere, he comes down, he tunnels his way towards us. We're engaged with this monster, this terrible, terrible enemy. And we'd have to deal with him, jump or block with Gandalf and hope that he doesn't have an attack boosting shadow. It says if there are no active locations, return Tunneling Nameless Thing to the staging area. So if I travel somewhere in the next round, I clear the active location, he goes back. So he can go back and forth. He can have attachments, so sometimes I've put if I got one early somehow, I've put Force Snare on him, and he can move around, but he just can't ever attack us. But the way to get around him is Thor's Map. So we'll put one out next round. I always wait until I get a Tunneling Nameless Thing. But next round, I'll put out a Thor's Map, and then if a location came into play that I want to travel to, like Brambles and Thorns, I can use Thor's Map during the travel action window to force that location into the active slot. That's not traveling. And then in doing that, Tunneling Nameless Thing won't engage us because we didn't travel. So a cool little cheat and workaround there. But we'll leave that 4th threat in staging rather than engage it. Okay, shadows are dealt. No damage to heal. And we will discard shadows. What do we have in the way of discard? There's discarded shadows. Refresh. Removing time counter next round. And we have one more card we can draw. But I'm going to probably not even draw it. We will use Grima's action and lower the cost of this Dwarven Tomb to nothing, doomed 1. In response, Keys of Orthanc gives Frodo a resource. We will grab a Galadrim's Greeting out of the discard pile and play a full-costed Galadrim's Greeting, lowering our threat by 6 and exhausting Hobbit Pipe to draw that last card. So we've drawn our entire hand. And then we do want to put out, using Berevor's resource, we want to put out a Thor's map. Let's attach it to Berevor. So if a location comes out, we can travel to it in a sense. We need this for Test of Will. We will quest. And we'll quest with everybody except Warden of Healing. Progress is placed on Amon Hin and Amon La because of Northern Tracker. We reveal the Outer Ridge. And so 2 progress made. During the travel phase, I definitely don't want to travel here because if I do, the Tunneling Nameless Thing engages me. And if I travel here, I'm replacing this 2 threat with 2 more threat because this gives each location in staging +1 threat. So I'd rather just deal with this with Northern Tracker. So we'll leave it in play. And we will not optionally engage Tunneling Nameless Thing. Shadows are dealt. And just discarded. No damage to be healed. Refresh. Remove this. Well, let's see. We're in the refresh action window. If I want to, I can go ahead and play Will of the West. I think I'd rather do that than waste card draw. So let's play Will of the West. We'll spend this resource from Grima's resource pool. He has, as we know, he has Spirit. And so we can move Will of the West to out of play. We'll just delete it and we'll shuffle the encounter discard pile back into our deck. And that allows us during this next resource phase, we take away the time counter. During this next resource phase, we can draw a card just from the usual drawn card. Okay, we'll get to exhaust Berevor to draw 2 cards. And here's Good Meal. So I did that because just felt like we'll get our threat lower by getting Good Meals instead of waiting to play full costed that final Galadrim's Greeting. So let's see. Let's just do a victory display inventory. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 10 plus 2. So we are at 18. We'll need 1 more location to come out and for us to be able to deal with it. Let's go ahead and use Grima's action to lower this Aether Swordsman to 1 and doomed 1, and we'll exhaust Keys of Orthanc, and he'll be boosted, of course, like everybody else, but then he's going to boost every other Outland's character by +1 threat or willpower. So now we're good. We're good with the willpower, and then eventually we can bring Gandalf into play and just really roll over this thing. Might as well play Deep Knowledge, Doom 2. And we draw 2 cards. Here's another Good Meal. We'll play Daron's Runes to draw 2 cards. And we will discard a Hobbit Pipe. We'll play Good Meal, or we'll take the action, discard Good Meal, lowering this Galadrim's Greeting down to 1, lowering our threat by 6, and exhausting Hobbit Pipe to draw a card. That seems all like we're good there. Let's quest. Let's leave Frodo ready. And we'll reveal. Dol Guldur Orcs. When revealed, the first player chooses one character currently committed to a quest. Deal 2 damage to that character. We'll put it on Grima. And we made 3 progress. During the travel phase, we're not traveling anywhere. Oh yeah, progress placed on the locations and staging due to Northern Tracker. All right, so Dol Guldur Orcs will engage us. Shadows are dealt, and we're going to defend with Frodo here. 2 against 2, and he defends that no problem. And we'll heal this 2 damage with the 2 Wardens of Healing, discarding Shadows, refresh, removing time counter. Next round. We'll exhaust Bear of War to draw 2 cards. And we'll play Daron's Runes, drawing 2 cards and discarding this Keys of Orthanc. I think it's probably time to get Gandalf out. He could help us a lot with Dol Guldur Orcs, just to get rid of him. But let's go ahead and play Good Meal, or use the action to lower the cost of this Galadrim's Greeting to 1. We exhaust Hobbit Pipe to draw a card. And now we'll use Grima's action to lower the cost of Gandalf down to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he enters play, Dune 1, and we exhaust Keys of Orthanc to give Frodo a resource back. It's kind of a fun, fiddly deck. All right, we already have a Thor's map, so nothing else to really do this round. Let's quest. And so Outer Ridge is going to go to the victory display. And we're 1 away from clearing out these locations. And we're going to reveal Brambles and Thorns. This is the winning location. I think next round we're going to win. So 2 progress made. During the travel phase, I don't want this to stay in staging. This is one of the reasons why I really like Thor's map for this deck. If this stays in staging, then it's going to take me 5 rounds to get rid of this with Northern Tracker. So I really want this to be the active location. It's going to damage each character committed to the quest by 1. And so we want to travel here, but then we would have to deal with tunneling nameless things. So during the travel action window after the travel opportunity, let's discard Thor's map. We'll take this action. Discard Thor's map to choose a location in the staging area. Make that location the active location. That is not traveling, so he does not engage us. Pretty cool. Okay, so shadows are dealt, and we'll defend this Dol Guldur Orcs with Frodo. 2 against 2. And we'll attack and destroy with Gandalf the Dol Guldur Orcs. And no damage to be healed. We'll discard these shadows, refresh, removing this time counter, and raising our threat by 2 to keep Gandalf in play. And I think this is the final round. It just sort of depends if a location comes out or not. We'll exhaust Bear of War to draw 2 cards. Here's a Good Meal. We'll discard Good Meal to take the action. Costs us 1 to play Galadrim's Greeting. And exhaust Hobbit Pipe to draw a card. So our threat's pretty low. With all the doomed and everything, it's so cool to be able to do that. We want to... So I have 3 copies of Self-Preservation, and in this playthrough it looks like overkill to have them, but I put one on Northern Tracker, I put one on Gandalf, I put one on Grima, and it helps you against like Rock Slide or Landslide, whichever. I think it's called Rock Slide. That 2 damage can be immediately healed, or even if Gandalf defends and gets damaged somehow, like against Tunneling Nameless Thing, you just have to have a lot of healing, and so we actually have that pretty good amount with the Wardens of Healing and the self-preservation. But just thinking, what do I want to do here with Grima's action? Let's take his action. I know that we're going to do that, but which card does it make the most sense to play? Probably the Ithir Swordsman. And so he has Dune 1. We'll exhaust Keys of Orthanc, and now all of our Outlands characters are fully boosted. And I didn't do my usual grouping thing because I like to see what damage is out there. It helps me to heal as needed. And then I guess we'll just quest all out here. We'll leave Grima ready. And whenever Northern Tracker exhausted to commit to the quest, these go to the victory display. And we'll leave our Ithir Swordsman ready. No, we need to quest with them. This seems good. There we go. We reveal. Okay, it's a location, so we will have to wait around to win here. The Shores of Nin Hithoil. All right, we made 12 progress. Now, whenever we forgot about this force, after a character commits to the quest, deal 1 damage to that character if it has not been dealt damage by another copy of Brambles and Thorns. So, questing characters were damaged by 1. And we cleared Brambles and Thorns, made 7 additional progress on the quest. This goes to the victory display. So we have 20 now, but we have an Emyn Muil location in play. During the travel phase, oh no, I forgot to put out a Thror's map. I should have. Oh well, I'll just live with it. Because if I had the Thror's map, I could push it over here. But what we'll do is we'll just... I should have done that. Just didn't think about it. Oh well, don't want to be accused of cheating or anything, so we'll leave it here. But we can travel here, but to travel means that Tunneling Nameless Thing engages us. That's not so bad. That might be kind of cool to see him engage us. Let's do it. Let's travel the Tunneling Nameless Thing. The first player must discard 1 event card from his hand to travel to this location. That event is going to be Deep Knowledge. So we travel here, and then it says force. After the players travel to a location, Tunneling Nameless Thing engages the first player. Big boss monster here. All right, so we have. We'll just defend with Frodo. 6 against 2. Frodo's defending against this guy. No shadow. So 6 against 2 means his response raises our threat by 4. And we'll just heal some damage here. And actually, we'll heal our Outlands characters completely. We'll leave this damage on Gandalf and on Northern Tracker. Okay, there's no way, there's no way, we can't kill Tunneling Nameless Things, but we will attack and destroy. We just need 4, 5, 6. That's enough to destroy Orc Horse Thieves. Just stop getting these shadows. Okay, so we discard shadows, refresh, remove this time counter, raise our threat by 2 to keep Gandalf in play next round. And Beowulf will draw our final 2 cards. And we can still play Galadrim's Greetings, but they'll cost us between Dwarven Tomb and the Galadrim's Greeting. It'll be kind of 4 resources per at this point. So we're running out of real estate. Eventually we would thread out. But what we're going to do is we're going to use Grima's action to lower a self-preservation to 2, doomed 1, and then we'll spend 3 resources to put out another self-preservation and attach it to Northern Tracker. We'll heal this damage. If we lose a Warden of Healing, it's not too big a deal. Kind of just flexing a little bit doing all that, but it's kind of fun. All right, let's quest. I think we could, quest for the win here. But we'll leave these guys ready. And in fact, we'll, rather than putting it on Northern Tracker, let's put that self-preservation on Grima. And we reveal another tunneling nameless thing. We made 11 progress though, so 9 on the current quest, so we're at 30. This goes to the victory display. And it says, and by the way, if there's no active location, return tunneling nameless thing to the staging area, so he comes back into the staging area. Players cannot defeat the stage unless there is no Emyn Muil locations in play, and they have collected at least 20 victory points. Let's count our victory points. We have it. 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 17, 20, 23. So that's it. We won the quest. So pretty cool. I think the playthrough, showed us pretty much everything, maybe except Orc Interceptor. Let's look at our hand real quick and see if there's anything we missed. We saw the Outlands characters and how you have to be careful against like Rock Slide and even Necromancer's Reach. There's 1 copy. You see how clutch Gandalf is really to help us defend when needed or attack. Northern Tracker is essential, the 1 copy. Warden of Healing and Self-Preservation is plenty of healing. Hobbit Pipe and Keys of Orthanc were amazing, along with Good Meal. Thor's Map is essential as well, as you saw. And everything else, just constantly playing Galadrim's Greetings. That's pretty fun. Let's look at the encounter deck and see what we might have missed. I'll shuffle everything back in so I can just look all at once here. There's a lot of discarded cards. We will look here at the enemies. We never saw Orc Interceptor. It's a lot easier to deal with than even the Orc Horse Thieves. We just engage it and throw a force snare on it. We saw Tunneling Nameless Thing. There are 3. I've had a game before where all 3 were out and I won, so it's not impossible. We didn't see Sarn Gabir Rapids. This is when it's the active location, you cannot cancel hazard cards, so that's kind of annoying because we don't want to have to leave that in staging. That's a lot of rounds of Northern Tracker to deal with, but sometimes that just has to be done. There are multiple brambles and thorns. I hate them, but as long as you're ready for it, you can get over it pretty easily. So what's probably the most discouraging thing about this quest when it happens to you is stuff like the shadow here, or even the when revealed, remove all progress from each Emyn Muil location in play. So if you had progress on a bunch of locations and staging, you just start all over again. But usually towards the end we have Test of Will, and it's not a big deal. But yeah, Rock Slide deals 2 damage to each character committed to the quest. But self-preservation helps with with these 3 kind of big guys. Hurrying Darkness. It's funny. You would think, well, I'll just raise my threat by 5, but a lot of times it's better to just reveal another encounter card because 5 threat raise is crazy, and the next card might be a location. You need to get locations, so usually it depends. I usually just choose to reveal a card. And this can be annoying. Possibly it removes a random Emyn Muil location for the victory display, but that's it. You just have to sort of survive and just run your deck. I think it was good that I had to discard Gandalf. You saw how it was actually advantageous at one point to just give up on Gandalf for a little while and then bring him back. So pretty nuanced deck, I think, and a pretty fun quests to play through. It does take a little while. That was on the longer side. I've won this, I think, in as little as 9 rounds, but 13 is on the high end. Hope you enjoyed the quest and that you'll continue on with me as we play. The next one is Nightmare Dead Marshes, which is a big improvement on the original. So enjoying these Nightmare decks. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.